All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Respect the Line live at the Lorenzino's Bocce Club here in Youngstown, Ohio. My co-host, Matthew Taylor, unable to make it today, but this is Danny Catullo, and I'm with Michael Sheldon, our beloved producer and sometimes co-host. Always willing to pinch hit whenever needed, Michael.
Happy to be here. Excited for this bracket draw.
So this is gonna be a newer episode today. Pretty excited. I did make sure to wear my national champion Ohio State University. I went to The Ohio State. This is where I graduated from, and I wanted to make sure this was a little shout out to my buddy Frank Popio. Just wanted to let you know that we are the champions. And to Matthew Taylor, also a Notre Dame fan. And unfortunately, we had to take it down this year. So fortunately for you, Matt. But national title, this is why I wore it. And we're going to be doing something really cool today. We have the court report, so we're going to be going over the winners. We'll basically just be talking about them. And then after that, we're going to go through the best of the best live draw. So this is the largest singles tournament in the country. It's going to be held here at the Lorenzino's Bocce Club in Youngstown, Ohio. So we're going to be doing the draw. We're talking briefly over the rules, as well as understanding how many from each bracket are going to be able to go, whether it be 4 winners, 2 losers, 2 winners, 4 losers, something like that. After we do the rules with Rocco and Dante, go over the club, we'll be doing the draw. So everyone's going to be able to see where they're going to be matched up against. And after that, we will be taking calls. So we want to hear what your thoughts are on the best of the best live draw. Those that played in the 3 tournaments that we talked through on the court report, please call in. We want to hear your thoughts on those tournaments, how those went. And we have just a full night of bocce again, Michael. And I couldn't be more excited for also the debut of the cameras here at Lorenzino's. Yourself, your father, you're coming to Youngstown, you're going to be playing in this, but we're going to be setting up for the first time live streaming, not just on our phones, but using those same exact cameras that you've been lugging away all over the country. I'm really excited to have those here. It's going to be a blast.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, let's get into the court report. What tournament we got first, Michael?
Well, where do you want to start? We've got 2 weekends to report on. I guess we'll start at the beginning. The first one was the Lorenzino's High Stakes.
Yeah, this was a really great tournament. So much fun. Got to play in this one with my brother, which don't always get to it, and just love being able to compete with him. And the team that won this tournament, I mean, it was just a gauntlet. It was just great player, great teams after great player, great teams. You just could not have an easy draw. There just wasn't an easy game out there. And this team of Frank Popio, Ben Diaz, Tim Wilson, Tony D'Onofrio was definitely not on everybody's radar to be the champion. And sure as hell, they just came out and won. And it really came down to team rolling. This team just was fantastic. Ben and Timmy, both typically one rollers in 4-person walk. It was so nice for that team to be able to have 2 great people that can be able to roll one. Popio, who's a great roller, usually from the hitting position. He was second hitting, doing what he loves to do best, trying to make splash plays, but also rolling in and covering points. And Tony D'Onofrio, fresh off a victory at St. Anthony's, winning on a dirt court, now coming to Lorenzino's and winning on synthetic. Just hitting and sticking everything and actually rolling phenomenal as well. They had a fantastic championship game against IMBS, who also made a great run, trying to do it back-to-back years, always very difficult. Took them to the second game of the championship as this Pope Saints team came from the winner's bracket. But what a great tournament. We'll get into more of those details and how those games were when we do taking calls at the end of the show.
Well, the next day after Lorenzino's High Stakes, we crowned a champion in Troy, New York, about 30 minutes south of me. That was – oh, my light just lost its battery. That was Pete Russo, Marco Signorelli, and Tony Porcello. They beat us in the finals, 13-12. They had to beat us twice. The second game we only scored 2 points. Or no, I'm sorry. The first game we only scored, I think, like 2 or 3 points. I think it was 2.
Yep.
And then second game was a lot closer, but they did beat us 13-12. Like you said, we can go over a lot more of these details later. That one was an interesting one, in large part because we, as some of you probably heard on the show last week, we did triples, no walk. So two guys on one side, one guy on the other. So a doubles matchup and a singles matchup in every game. And it went really well. I think everybody really loved it. Got a lot of positive feedback, and I think we're gonna definitely something that we're gonna do again.
Yeah, I have so many questions. I can't wait till we get done with the draw to be able to hear about that, and a lot of people that are looking for unique ways to make their tournaments popular, as there's just so much noise out there with all these tournaments every single weekend. Just a really cool way to do it. And shout out to those three. I watched the first game of your championship when Marco was playing the singles, just playing phenomenal. And it was just a lot of fun watching that type of draw and that type of tournament out there and just seeing the strategy behind it. So shout out to those three.
And last but not least, since our last episode, we got the Mount Carmel winners, Lorenzino's team.
Mark Conkle. This is in Lowville. This is just such a cool tournament. Only one court. Everybody's on top of each other, watching, eating great food, drinking great drinks from the bar, and everyone really supporting the community there. And it's just really special because everybody there, this year especially, because we lost one of the legends in the bocce community out here in Youngstown, and that's Red. And Red takes care of those courts out there, and it was just really special to have him, his memory and all the stories from him and his picture there as we were all playing in the tournament. And back-to-back years, Lorenzino's, again, typically it's synthetic team. This is the Lorenzino's club team right here. That's the founder of Lorenzino's, Dante Chiovitti, Matt Estes, Bobby Gentile, and Gianni Calesi. They were champions again, second year in a row. Had a fantastic championship against Erie Canal, against my buddy Cody Haleko, Bobby Middle, Freddie, and of course Mike Lapp. Just great games, great time. Love playing there, the one court, and it was just a great tournament to have and really setting us well up for this weekend of some good bocce.
Awesome. Can't wait to get a little more in depth with those tournaments later. But coming up next, Danny, I think we got a something a lot of people have been looking forward to. Yeah, I got a
special guest here. I'm gonna bring him on here. We all know, Dante may own the club, but thank God Rocky keeps him in line. I got Rocky DeLisio. This is one of my best friends growing up. His father, of course, now we get to be close friends. Now was my coach, my little league coach, my little league football coach, and also coincidentally taught me the game of bocce and played in my first tournament with me, and really got me into the competitive side. So it's pretty special to be here with Rock doing the live stream. Rock's going to go over some of the rules for the singles tournament here, the best of the best, as well as pull the cards for what bracket gets what, as far as how many people and how many winners and how many losers are coming back for that. Once Rock goes over those rules, once he does the pulling of the cards, just to give everybody the setup, then Michael is going to be sharing a screen showing Wednesday night's bracket, and we'll be doing some random thoughts here. So, Rock, why don't we go over the rules, and why don't we also get the founder? Why don't you come sit over here of Lorenzino's Bocce Club, and that's Dante Chiovitti, head chef, head bocce court taker care of,
wire
running wires right now to make sure you're ready, Michael. We had to pull them off the roof. So
good man.
And listen, dude, you better not be wearing my fucking Reeboks when your ass gets over here.
I retired those shoes a couple years ago, so.
When I retire, that's my jersey I'm retiring, is them shoes. They almost done making them.
I beat the shit out of those shoes, so they've been retired.
I love it. All right, let me go over the rules, Rock. Okay, here we go. Lorenzino House rules. Well, we're playing this weekend to 12. The bracket play and championship Sunday, all to 12. You get one throw of the Pauline. If you lose the Pauline, the other team throws it, but you retain your ball. You retain the roll. There's no foot roll on the side. You don't have to be a foot off the wall. We have that Rondino, and it's unnecessary. The Pauline has to be past the second center line or touching it, and before the back line or touching it. Everything on the courts is in. The fencing, the plexiglass, the metal. If a ball leaves the court and comes back in, hits a player, something like that, hits a tape measure, try to replace balls that are hit back to where they belong. But the ball that left the court is a dead ball. If the Pauline comes back past the line it had to touch or cross, reframe, start over. If a ball comes back past the initial line, it's a dead ball, take it off the court. Let's see. Measure point only anytime. You can measure your points, the 2-point balls at any time. You don't have to have a ball back. The back wall is dead. That's the way we play it here at Lorenzino's. There's 5 20-team brackets. Dante decided this year to go to 5 brackets of 20 instead of like last year, 14 brackets of 25, just because of the time restraints and people playing to the wee hours of the morning. So because of the 5 brackets, it's not an easy fix come championship Sunday. So after discussions, we decided to take back 16 winners, 16 one-loss people. The only way to do that in our eyes, legitimately and fairly, is we have to have one bracket of the 5 getting 8 people back to Sunday. One bracket will get 4 winners and 4 one-loss people. 2 brackets will get 4 winners and 2 losers. The other 2 brackets will get 2 winners and 4 losers. I hate to say losers, one-loss people. Just going to be random. We've got cards here. We're going to shuffle them up as we draw them. Wednesdays first. Whatever we pick first, that's what Wednesday gets, and so on. You know, I know one bracket's going to have the advantage of 8 teams, but, you know, we wanted to get it to 32 because there was some issues about only getting 14 with 1 loss, and the losses do carry over in this tournament. We have a lot of tournaments where you come back Sunday with a clean slate. This is not one of those tournaments. We'll start Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 5 o'clock. Saturday morning, 8
o'clock.
Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock, I believe.
I got
I
just got one from the rules that you mentioned, and Russell actually just asked the same question in the chat. So if a ball comes back, what's up, Christopher? If a ball comes back over the half court, over the Paulino line, then it's dead?
If the Pauline comes back past the line that it had to touch or cross, it's a reframe. If the ball comes back, there's 2 center lines at Lorenzino's. Okay. They're like a third of the way down the court and 2/3 roughly.
Yeah.
If the ball comes back past the initial line, it's off the court. The frame's still alive, but that ball that came all the way back is off the court.
Okay, so it's not really the half court. It's not the Paulino line. It's the
there is no half court line here.
Same as Molisani.
It's like Molisani. You have the 2 center lines, nothing in the exact center, just 2 center lines.
So if it comes all the way back, not just over the second line, but over the first line, then it's dead. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Correct.
What if you roll? Gotcha. And if you roll a ball short of that line, is it a dead ball?
No.
No. Okay.
No, because you could roll a ball. You know, the ball could come back and still be sitting there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. What about shooting your own ball down to the end of the court? Are you allowed to roll one, like, 10, 15 feet in front of you and then shoot it down to the end?
As long as it reaches the center line.
Yeah, as long as it's the first line. As long as it's on or past that first center line.
Okay.
You can't roll a ball 5 feet in front of you and then try to hit it down.
Right. Gotcha.
All right, I'm going to get some stuff done. I'll see you soon when you come in, everybody.
Well, Dante, but first, favorite thing to eat at Lorenzino's? What's like your top three? Because I've been hyping up the food. What's your top three dishes at Lorenzino's? What should people get?
You know what? A little bit of everything.
Really not a bad dish here.
Also, I want to make everybody remember and understand that when you come into your bracket, fear the golden penis.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget that.
I'll see you.
Good God.
Well, now you got to explain what that means.
We will. We'll explain as we get into the brackets.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the brackets, getting what players back: 4 and 4, 4 and 2, or 2 and 4.
All right.
So the first one drawn is going to be Wednesday night. Danny's going to draw.
I'm gonna shuffle. You're gonna close your eyes and you're gonna pick one.
One more rule I forgot before we do this. In case of a tie, player A rolls the paline and rolls a ball. He's 14 inches short. Player B rolls the ball. She's exactly 14 inches. It's a tie, dead tie. No matter what measurement we have, it's a tie. They have to keep rolling till they beat it. Once you tie it, you did not beat it. You got to keep rolling until you beat it. Forgot that rule.
Tie at the end of a frame is no score, of course.
Tie at the end of a frame is no score.
We got inside measures. We got refs. We're going to try to do everything.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We appreciate anybody reffing these games. This way, guys don't, take an extra 30 seconds or minute every time, but like Frank Popio does, to walk down and look at where his ball is. Try to speed the games up a little bit.
You might have already answered this. What are the practice rules?
The only practice you get before the game is before the bracket starts. Every game, every first game, up and down and start. Once you play, you know what? It's 4 balls.
Yeah, just one up.
Yeah, every game, down and start. You throw your 4 practice balls. Once you get to the other end, start.
Okay. Every game you get one practice frame?
Every game you get one up.
One down and start. One up or one down, whatever the case may be.
Gotcha.
Okay, we're going to draw the brackets now to see what they get.
All right, close your eyes.
Okay, Wednesday night gets 4 winners and 2 losers. Okay. Thursday night gets 4 winners and 4 losers.
Woo! That was a tough bracket too.
Friday night, and like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday start at 5 o'clock. So if you're one of the first 3 games, be here by 4:45. Friday night gets 2 winners, 4 losers. Saturday morning gets 4 winners, 2 losers. So that leaves a 2 and a 4, correct?
That's correct.
Saturday afternoon gets 2 winners and 4 one-loss teams. And that makes 16 winners and 16 one-loss teams coming back. I think that's about it.
Great. All right, let's why everybody's on this the most live viewers we've ever had. They're on here to see the draw. So let's go on to Scoreholio. Michael, if you could pull up Wednesday's bracket, that would be great.
I'll copy these in later.
All right, so
Now, in 20-team brackets, there are basically four play-in games.
all right, great. Okay, and we'll be posting these. These will be live on Scoreholio, so you'll be able to see them. We'll also post a screenshot of it as well on the Bocce Underground and on our page. We do have 3 people here watching us do the randomizer on our side. We got Bobby Davis, we got Chris, and we got also Michael Murray here. So we are going to randomize this 4 times.
I don't know if this is going to automatically display here. We'll see.
I guess we're going to find out.
Might have to refresh it. Oh, cool.
It's creating it right now. And away we go. All right. So you could see on this right here, it'll show up the whole bracket now as it's sort of refreshing there. But first games, we got Ruben Gutierrez versus Joe Sandy. Mike Murray versus MHP, Michael Paisano. Anthony Del Torio versus Buster Palumbo. And also in that playing game is Matt Toro and Chark, Mark Ahern. Other great game, Nick Capagreco versus Ben Diaz. Greg Anelli versus Brian Polance. Frank Popio's playing against Chris Caligari. Yep, Caligari. Bo Wetzel and John Vivo, a couple friends going after each other. Everyone else I have not mentioned has a bye. Again, this will be posted up soon, and that's going to be a great Wednesday night bracket. And how many winners, how many losers Wednesday?
Wednesday is 4 winners and 2 losers.
My brother's in that, of course, is an easy bracket for him, 4 winners. He always has like the easiest path. Nice job, Angelo. Whoever picked to be in Angelo's bracket knew what they were doing. Okay, so let's move over to Thursday. Whenever you're ready, Michael, let me know.
Let's see. I'm going to get her loaded up. Thursday. Sheldon, I hear you there.
Sheldon.
Yeah. And Popio just comes back here and he lives here, so he actually showers here.
Yeah, he rents a room here. He doesn't shower, unfortunately, though.
All right.
He's playing Chris.
Got our Thursday bracket loaded up.
All right. Let's go.
No filter. I just got done playing him too. No filter.
All right, we're creating the bracket. And away we go. All right, first game, Tony Melaragno Jr. against Bobby Davis. Phil Tate versus Mike Robertson. Dylan Palsy versus Ted Boder. Matt Taylor versus Billy Solinsky. Also some great matchups here. First round, we got Anthony Kapp versus Bobby Gratz. Anthony Kapp, of course, won the King of Lorenzino's, the club championship. We got Sean Nelly Nelson versus Jolene Marcello. We got Nick Amendola versus Tony Chiavetti. That should be a great matchup. A couple wily veterans. And Jimmy P against Vito Buonasante coming in from Chicago. And, of course, everyone else we had not mentioned will have a bye. That's going to be a great tournament, a great bracket, I should say, in Thursday, and 4-4. So a lot of people are saying, oh, Thursday is going to be the toughest bracket. Well, they got 8 members coming back. So if it is the toughest on paper, they also got the most people coming back for Sunday.
How do I get this thing to stop cycling? I just did it on the last one.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, we'll move on to Friday.
I like that Jimmy P. Vito matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
A lot of good matchups this person.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
That's a hell of a matchup. It's funny that I mentioned you too.
I got Friday here. Let's see if I can pause it on the right screen this time.
All right, we up on Friday?
Yeah, for some reason it's still, there we go.
Okay.
I smell weed. You.
All right, here comes Friday. We got Patsy Carbone versus Ray Brook. Nico Fox versus Sarah Monteleone. Patrick Durkin, PJD against Robert Stewie Stewart. Pat Peasant versus Rocco Guerreri. Jimmy Newbrow versus Joe Zazar. Myself versus Mike Brook. James Salvaggio versus Levi. And Greg Thompson versus Michael Luceni. That's going to be another great bracket, too.
They get 2 and 4.
Love it. 2 and 4. You got to fight through this bracket. Of course, the hardest bracket is mine. If you wanted to go in the hardest bracket, you should always follow me.
You got the hardest.
Always follow me.
Danny's got the hardest.
Yeah, I play Mr. November. It's tough. All right, let's move on to Saturday morning when you're ready, Michael.
You calling that the hardest bracket?
No. I called it the one that has 2 and 4. So it's the hardest pathway to make Sunday.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Let's see. 2 and 4. Is that harder than 4 and 2?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you come back, you got 4 winners coming back, so you have a much better chance of coming back with no loss because you don't get to. You have to keep your loss.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep. But I don't mind
All right.
the tough path. I don't mind it.
Saturday morning.
All right.
None of these. All these names and all these brackets. Like,
A lot of
I
good
figured
players.
there'll be at least a couple brackets where, that's
Yeah,
just
there's
seem like
100 great players from all over the country, and I think there's 6 or 7 from Canada.
All right, and away we go. Saturday morning. First match off right off the rip is Carmen Marinucci versus Joey Rogan. The other matchup, and this is going to get moved to actually the second round because Croach is unable to come for the first match. He'll be able to come for the next one.
Right.
Anthony Croach versus Mikey P. Ezio versus Angelo. Bill Barnett versus Fu. Nick Jennings.
So let them know they're going to be one of the
Yeah,
first 3.
and we'll let you guys know. You'll be moved up into top 3. That's the Billy Barnett. I know he's coming in Friday night. He wants that pizza with Popio at Avalon, so they're going to go eat some pizza and prepare himself for Saturday morning, Frank. Don't get him out too late, okay?
Thank you.
Michael Ferbata is playing against Francesco. Carl Greenaway versus Steve. John Mancini versus Pat Donor. And Joe Rotacco versus Natalie Scala. Oh, that's a nice little bottom of the bracket there with Bill Barnett, Fu, Chooch, Joe Rotacco, and Natalie.
They're getting 4 winners and 2 losers back.
4 winners, 2 losers here. All right, one more bracket. Feel free to put your comments in. We're watching those, and feel free to call in later and give us your takes, your hot takes for the bracket. We're excited to hear them.
Yeah, and we'll go back and take a, once we're done pulling these brackets, go back and take a closer look at all of them too. I would imagine that's what you want to do, right, Danny?
Yep. Yeah, we'll go to in-depth view of each of the brackets. I'll let Rock have to get back to work, and we'll be able to talk through it.
Yeah, I'm actually tending bar currently.
All right, we're on to Saturday PM. Let me know when you're up, Michael.
Forgot what I was doing for a second.
All right.
We're good to go. I don't know if you can see it on your screen.
Yep, I'm good. And this is your bracket, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. All right, the bracket is being created through the magic of the internet. All right, starting off first, we got Maurizio versus Francanelli. That's going to be a great game. Mike, you're up first round against Bobby Ferraro. That's going to be a great game, too. Timmy Wilson versus Eli from Aliquippa. Valentina versus Moose. Oh, I can't wait to watch that one. Vinny Vital versus Nicky Emo. Mario Scala versus Dan Socini, also from Aliquippa. Jose Bato, you drew Greg Puccio. And waiting in that bracket is going to be either Tim Eli or William Hennessy III. Jackson Wicker, you drew Marcus DiCamillo. Ron Dog waiting for a bye over there. All right, Scotty got a bye, and Michael, your dad as well got a bye there too.
I see that, and he might have to play against his partner, Frank. If Frank can get past Momo.
Nice.
That's a 2 winner and 4 losers.
2 winner, 4 losers coming out of this. So why don't we get one more shot of Rocco? He could say sayonara. We can start posting up that number, start getting these call-ins, and we'll
keep in mind as you're here over the weekend, and if you happen to see Frank Popio standing around, he's a few chromosomes short of a chimpanzee. So take it easy on him because he's not a bad guy. He's really not. All the love to him.
He also got his Michigan hat on.
Go
here.
Buckeyes.
Go Bucks. All right. So, Mike, you're going to be putting the number up on the screen. We're going to be taking calls. Feel free to give your opinion, whether it be through the brackets or if you want to talk through any of the previous tournaments. Happy to talk through those. Give us your topics. But after you put that up, Michael, I want to get into this Wednesday bracket. I want to go into a little bit more in depth of what's going on because each of these brackets, I think, have some intriguing matchups that I know personally I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the guy that I'm playing, Bob Ferraro.
Yeah, Bobby Ferraro, great player, great hitter. Just won a couple good games out there in Mount Carmel. Plays a lot at MVR. He'll be good here too.
Player.
Yeah, but also plays
like
here on Lorenzino's. Actually on my men's team. He plays a lot of different leagues, so not always able to come here. But
I gotta play a hometown guy.
These people from Youngstown, they're not afraid, Michael, of any court surface. Carpets, dirt, hard true.
Hey, we got no choice.
Synthetic.
We gotta play on them all, right?
Yep, you got to play them all. All right. As people, please call in. We're looking to talk to you. Numbers up there on the screen. I'm going to go just talk through a little bit of Wednesday's bracket, if you don't mind pulling it up. And
going in 4 different directions at once.
Yeah, no worries. Talk about each of the pods. So as Michael's pulling it up, you can look on your phone or look at the bracket. That first pod there, Ruben Gutierrez is playing against Joe Sandy. The winner is going to be playing against Mike Seraph, who happened to be in town for business. So he took the Wednesday bracket. He's from Lockport, New York. Joe and Ruben, of course, are from Youngstown, Ohio. And then Nick Capogreco versus Ben Diaz. That's one of the more intriguing first-round matchups of all the brackets. Both Nick and Ben play a ton here. Ben, who is traditionally a roller, but is working his butt off on hitting, can stick a lot of balls. Nick, same thing, traditionally a 2 roller instead of a 1 roller, but traditionally a roller, but also hits extremely well here. He played on my team that beat Pat Pezin, Nico Fox, Jose Botto, and Jason during the high stakes as a second shooter. And those two just, again, pride themselves on their all-around game. Pretty excited for that. In the second pod, we got Michael Iyer-Murray playing against Mike Paisano. Winner plays Mike Chrisman. Mike Chrisman, who is, if you watch any through Bocce Live, you've seen Lee, his wife, do a lot of the streaming. Mike is just like, same thing with like Ben and Nick, just grinders here. They play a lot of bocce here. Mike's been practicing, working on his game. He's a fantastic hitter, knows the courts really well. I expect him to do well, and he plays the winner of that Mike and Mike matchup, Iyer-Murray and Paisano. Greg Anelli, who's from, I believe, the Poconos, right, Michael?
Yeah, he's from PA. The Anellis are from Scranton, PA.
Scranton, PA. And then he's playing against Brian Polance from Cleveland. Brian, of course, is an accomplished player, especially on synthetics. Really prides himself on being a great roller and making clutch hits. So that should be a really good top of the pod there. Going down towards the bottom, we got Anthony Del Torrio versus Buster Palumbo. Winners playing against Brandon Totoki. So Anthony and Buster should be a great match. I mean, Anthony plays here a ton. Buster as well plays league here. Brandon, I don't know if he plays a ton here. I definitely have seen his name around the circuit, though. So he gets the bye, gets to wait it out. And Popio's playing against Chris. Chris has been here, feels like, for the last 2 weeks. He's been hanging around. Lorenzino's getting his rolls in. Chris is actually out from Seattle. So another different state here from the state of Washington to come out here. So that's a lot of fun. And Popio, of course, one of our legends around here, who is a fantastic singles player, maybe the toughest single player in this bracket. I think it's Pope's pot to lose, but with Chris, Anthony, Buster, and Brandon, they're going to be giving him hell to be able to take him down.
Nice. Yeah, this is probably the bracket where I know the fewest players.
Yeah, typically the Wednesday bracket, if you extend out the days, right, it's most likely the most local of the brackets. It's easier for them to be able to get here at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. And as you start spreading out to Friday and Saturdays, you start to see the out-of-towners, the ones that travel to everywhere. They're names you're seeing most often on Friday and Saturdays. On the bottom of this bracket, we got Matthew Toro, great player, good roller, playing against Shark, Mark Cahern, who plays actually on the IMBS League team here. Mark can do them both. Excited to watch that matchup. And the winner plays against my brother, Angelo Catullo. Angelo did very well at the King of Lorenzinos. In fact, beat me in a very close game. But looking forward to Angelo and seeing what he can do here at the best of the best. And then Bo Wetzel and John Vivo. If you're ever here at like 1 o'clock in the morning, it's typically Bo and John playing against each other. And they're translating one of those 1 o'clock games to being game number 8 here on the Wednesday bracket. Pretty excited to watch Bo and John. They know each other's games. They know what they both like or not like. So it'd be interesting battle of the minds as they go after each other. It should be really interesting to see who comes out of that bottom bracket. If Bo rolls the way that Bo can roll, I expect Bo to be able to cause some fits for both Vivo and my brother, Matt, and Mark, whoever he ends up facing, hitting. But, Angelo, Vivo, Chark, also very accomplished circuit players, and Matt, don't sleep on him, could be able to make a run as well. Yeah. Whitway says Bo Wetzel, if you know him, Michael, doesn't drink too much, but he'll have like 4 Red Bulls like during the course of it, and he's like jumping over the fence even at 1 o'clock in the morning. This dude has boundless energies.
And he's played against Vivo.
Yep.
Gonna be a lot of movement on that court.
Yeah, I don't know how Bo's gonna stand still waiting for Vivo to get through his shooting routine. Should be fun.
You want to take a look at Thursday? Let me check.
Yeah, let's go on to Thursday. If anybody would love to hear from you, I know there was a chance that Bubba can call in. Bubba, of course, was second place last year. Would love to hear from you. And I'll move on to Thursday's bracket.
Here we got Thursday here. Is this you or are you Friday?
I'm Friday.
Starting to see some more. Well, actually, maybe not. I was starting to see some more out of towners in this one, but
a couple out of towners here, but this bracket is just like, man, it's heavy. So we got Tony Mel, Bobby Davis, Bobby again, just a grinder around here, is always playing. He's going to be a very, very tough out for Tony. Winner, for your prize, you get to play against Dante. Chiovitti, of course, built the courts. The owner of the club. And then waiting down there in the bottom is Cap and Bobby Gratz. And if chalk goes through, if it's Dante versus Cap, one of these two is going to get an early loss to have to be able to fight through. So I'm like, even with the 4 winners, one of those two is going to have a loss. And I think, other people who are licking their chops, and then they both know Dante, who has won the best of the best before, and Cap, I know has won King of Lorenzinos and believe has won the singles, if not played in the championships out there at St. Anthony's. 2 of the toughest players around. At least one of them is going to have a loss coming out of that top bracket from Thursday.
How many women do we have? Lee, Valentina, anybody else?
Jolene.
Sarah, was that her name? Sarah Monteleone?
Yep, Sarah Monteleone and Jolene as well. So I believe 4 women.
Nice.
Yep, and 2 of them are right here in that bottom part of the top bracket of Thursday. And that after Phil Tate in the Mike Robertson game, the winner has to play Lee. Lee's so dangerous on this court. She rolls well. She can hit off the wall. She knows how to call her own game. So she'll be excited watching whoever wins that matchup play against Lee. And then Shawnee Nelly, one of my lead rollers, fantastic roller, can also hit really, really hard. Is playing against Jolene, and Jolene was in the championship game for the queen of Lorenzino's against Val. So should be a great matchup there.
Oh, okay.
Jolene, of course, is from Dirty 30.
Oh, yeah.
Can do it all. Bottom part of the bracket, we got Dylan Palsy versus Ted Boder. I'm not familiar who Ted is. One of the few names I don't know. Winner, though, of that game is playing against Michael Nardone. Nardone, of course, made a big run in the best of the best last year. If you were watching, it was sort of his coming out party, if you will. And he'll be waiting for the winner of Dylan and Ted. Dylan had made Sunday in the best of the best last year. So if Dylan is able to take down Ted, two people that made the Sundays going after each other in a battle, whoops. And then Nikki Amendola and Dante Chiovetti's dad, Tony, will be playing against each other. Again, I said this was kind of two wily veterans. Really excited to watch them and their matchup. And that's just going to be like a tough little pod there to see who able to make it through. It's Sunday. Don't know who my favorite is. Maybe Nardone on paper, but I've seen Dylan, Nick, and Tony all play well enough to be able to get there. Again, I haven't seen Ted play, but should be a lot of fun. Especially in these games at 12, Michael. It's like, someone could just get hot. Just get hot and win the game.
Yeah, well, so, Nardone's from PA, right?
Nardone's from PA, from Coppell, yeah, or Beaver Falls-ish area.
And the rest of these guys
I don't know where Ted's from, so if someone does, please comment for us. Dylan is from Youngstown, as well as Nikki Amendola and Tony Chiovetti.
How much of a factor do you think that's going to play this week? The hometown advantage. It's definitely less of a factor on synthetic courts because there's not as many lines in theory to learn.
So definitely less with the lines, and also the fact that it's back wall dead, because typically you have to learn the back wall too if you're playing in a live tournament. I think what also will come into play for the advantage, though, for those that are coming down from Cleveland that typically play synthetic at Molisani, or that come down from Canada, they're typically playing on those extremely fast courts. It's much slower here at Lorenzino's. The walls play differently than every other court that has synthetic. So understanding the walls, understanding the speed right off the rip, and the differences between the three courts. So in my opinion, what typically happens is you have a little bit of that hope court advantage, but in a four ball singles tournament, it's like you get so many balls to learn the speed and to understand the court that typically that advantage that you have just gets shortened, as opposed to a four-person walk where you're throwing a ball, then having to go on the other side, then having to go on the other side, where now you'd be able to kind of get into rhythm, learn the court a little bit faster. So I do see that little bit of advantage in the first game, and then I think it goes away rather quickly just because you get so many balls to be able to throw at it. That being said, and this is a point that actually Eric Zalesnak had made up before the unit, it is nice to be able to sleep in your own bed.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to come here, after a travel day or the next morning after sleeping in a hotel room. You get a little bit of rest. God forbid you have a long break between games. You could technically go home if you're close from here. So it is nice to be able to play close to home. Just to finish out the rest of this bracket, Matt Taylor's playing against Billy Solinsky. Billy, great local player from here. Matt, of course, our co-host from Respect the Line. Matt and Billy should be a great first-round matchup. And the winner has to play a really tough singles player, and that's Bobby Gentile. Bobby had just won the tournament over at Mount Carmel, and I just remember 2 years ago, best of the best, Bobby Gentile, I believe, got third to Natali and to Dante Chiovitti, either third or fourth. Bobby played freaking amazing. Was such a great singles player. And then down at the bottom there is Jimmy Pie versus Vito. Vito coming down from Chicago. Vito, I played at Mulsanne with one of our other he was our second hitter over at Mulsanne. Vito just understands the game. He's a great singles player, a great synthetic player. And it's like right there is just like 5 really tough players. And only one gets to have no losses coming out of there. So it's good for the rest of us that, at least a couple of these players are going to have a loss.
Vito coming out a couple days earlier to hang out at some breweries.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's always looking for a find, either like a great craft beer or looking for like some bourbon finds out there.
Vito's got all the secret brewery locations, speakeasies.
He knows them all.
Insane tasting beer.
So what do you think? We just did Wednesday and Thursday. This Thursday bracket, do you think it's tougher than that Wednesday bracket, at least based on paper? Names that you know?
Well, I didn't know as many players in the Wednesday. And still Thursday, I know only probably, I know a lot of these names, but as far as seeing these guys play, probably only a handful of them. And very rarely do you get to see any of these guys, or at least for me, get to see anybody play singles. So I'm interested to see what that looks like for a lot of these, especially guys who are more specialized, like Matt Taylor. He's a first roller all the time, right?
Watching someone like Anthony Capp, who typically is hitting first in 4-person walks. Of course, a great singles player, won King of Lorenzino's. But that's what's so fun about these tournaments is you get to see in the mind of these players because, listen, there's no one else to blame on the call now. It's on you. You're the one that's calling your own game. And so it's really like some of this is like longevity. You have to be able, through a long game, through a long tournament, be able to have the stamina like in your body from throwing the ball, from rolling the ball, like taking the break off in between the games, and then the mental stamina to like get through it all. And I know like when I first started playing singles, like in the tournaments, I went 0-2, I think like the first 3 or 4 tournaments I went to. And although everyone warned me, it was so difficult to take time after a miss roll or a miss hit. Like I wanted to hurry up and correct what I just did wrong. So if I I sailed the ball, I wanted to go right back up the line. I'm like, okay, I had the right line, but I sailed it. And then immediately I would run too short or not adjust enough. Like didn't take the deep breaths in between and be like, wait a minute, is this even a roll? Just because that one did that, am I supposed to roll again? Or, now do I need to hit Paulino? So like going through the progressions in your head of like, oh, now I went from the first roller on my team. Now I'm the second roller on the team. Is that what I need to do? And, it's all on yourself. And you have to really be thinking about like, what position am I playing here? Is this the right call for that position?
That's an interesting way to look at it, Danny, in terms of positions.
Yeah, it's like, what would I do if, I'm typically an aggressive first shooter, but what would I do if I had, if I was in the mind of Corey Whitway? He's my second roller. Like, would he want to take a shot at this ball? Would he want to do something different? Would he want to play on this ball? And I also think that myself calling games as I got more experience as a single player, again, not to where the greats are, but I, view myself as a good singles player, is, I typically play a lot more conservative because I want the feel of the rolling. Where if I had to do like a one-off shot, like completely cold coming off the straight, give me the ball and let me hit the ball. It's because it's something that I do, every single day. Every single day I play bocce, that is. But with rolling, I like to continuously have the feel. And so I found myself rolling a lot in the singles matchups just to always continue having the feel so that I could then, felt better towards the end of the game to have those pressure rolls and that ball in my hand.
Last year, it seems like it came down to, from the top of my mind, the top at least 4 or 5 guys were all very strong hitters that were able to point well.
Yep.
So I wonder if
Yeah.
I wonder if that is easier. I mean, I guess it depends on the person, but I wonder if it's easier for these guys who are typically shooters to adjust to rolling, easier than it is for the rollers to have to shoot consistently.
I think the rule of thumb typically is you wonder if one of these singles players that are great at rolling, if they'll have enough timely hittings to make a run.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. We've seen it. I know at the Mr. Molisani, Val Furbata, I believe both of Val's actually, but I know Val Furbata for sure, made it to the championship just rolling on balls. He was laughing because I rewatched my games and he may have rolled, he may have hit the ball 9 or 10 times, and some people did that, in a couple frames against him. It was just rolling. So it can happen. I think on the extremely fast courts, it's definitely an advantage to be, someone that's coming from the rolling end. I think it's going to be really difficult to be a traditional roller and win this tournament without making enough hits, just because there's hits that you need to make on the Paulino. There's hits that you need because you got to be able to shake things up, because of the short court.
Yeah, you got to be able to get big frames.
So yeah, you got to go after this big one.
Hitting is such a part of making big frames. And it's so easy to waste the ball too, hitting. Whereas rolling, you're rolling short. It's like, all right, it's in the way. Maybe it'll come into play. Hitting, if you don't hit it, your ball's likely out of the court. And you're playing 3 balls against 4, And
you may not be putting a ball back. And so you're leaving the Paulino open for someone like Capogreco, Chiovitti, Jimmy Paisano, these guys that are gamblers that want to go after these big frames. They're going to take a shot or two at the Paulino and try to get that 3-4.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if any rollers are able to make a run. Like I said, would you agree that the top, at least I'm thinking, I can't really remember past like 4th place, but the top 4 or 5 guys were all hitters.
Yep. So it was, get the king of Lorenzinos, it was Capogreco versus Cody Haleco, my buddy. Cody's a hitter. Capogreco's a hitter. Nardone, hitter. Stewie, hitter. Myself and Vivo, I believe we were 5th, 6th hitters. See, it's just like it was a lot of hitters to be able to last.
Last year, Jose. Jose is Jose. He's whatever. He could do whatever he wants to do. But then Bubba,
that was versus Bubba. And so Bubba is now a lead roller, but he grew up playing bocce as a lead hitter. So he's has 10 years of a lead hitter in him. So he has the hitting to be able, it's not unfamiliar territory for him to be hitting in a tournament.
Yeah, Bill Barnett. He's a hitter all day. He rolled great, but he's a hitter for sure.
Popio was in the mix.
Yeah, Nardone, was he up there?
Nardone was in the mix. I think he was 5th, 6th.
Yeah. So
Natalia, of course, gave Jose the best game of the tournament. Hitter,
the jacket game.
Yeah, the jacket game, infamous. Let's move on to so we get everyone brackets to do. Let's move on to Friday's bracket. Again, feel free to call in if you love to or want to. We'd love to hear from you. If not, if you don't mind hearing my voice and Michael's talking about the brackets, we don't mind talking about bocce all day, every day, right?
No, I don't. I'm looking at these names. Now we're starting to get into some more familiar territory. Out of that top group, I got to imagine Joe Z's the favorite. Would you? Oh,
yeah. So, Joe Z, he also made a big run last year. Joe can do everything, but, fantastic hitter, typically on a 4-person walk team. Joe actually lost his first game last year to Cody Haleco. second place in the King of Lorenzinos, and then made the finals of the best of the best, made the Sunday. Joey this time is against Jimmy Newbrow for his first game. Patsy Carbone and Ray Brook, and the winner's playing Bill Shovlin. Again, on paper, it looks like Joe Zazar's sort of top bracket to be able to take. But I know from playing against, Jim, Patsy, Ray, and even Bill, Bill typically plays the crickets, but he can come here and he can shoot the ball and roll too. I could also see an upset happening. There's another upset brewing. Joe's again having to come up from Cleveland. But on paper, I would see that he's the one that's going to take that top of the bracket.
Nico Fox.
Nico versus Sarah. Oh, this is a fun bracket. We got Nico versus Sarah. Winner plays Corey Witt. Witt, who I play, the majority of tournaments with. He's there. And then he made also Sunday for King of Lorenzinos. Excited to see Nico bringing his singles game here to the courts. And then
Nico
myself.
Did he play Best of the Best last year? He must have, right?
Nico must have. Nico, if you're listening, chime in. I don't remember him playing Sunday. So if he did make Sunday.
Yeah, I know he played the Toronto 777 International, the PRV singles, and he did well there.
Did extremely well. I remember watching in my hotel room, watching him play. It was a lot of fun playing PRV, man. That kid just can do anything. Dirt court, synthetic court, rules, not rules, open, back wall. It doesn't matter. Nico's a gamer, man.
It's that neuroplasticity advantage.
Yep.
Being 16 years old. And, hey, there's something to be said for the fatigue factor, right?
Listen, I tell you what, I was burnt at the end. Just my whole body felt sore. Just everything, and I was doing that at 40 years old. And, the dude's coming out here at 16. Obviously a lot easier, for his body to be able to withstand it. I think the advantages though, at age 40, as opposed to being 16 is just like, we might be able to get over some bad breaks a little faster because you get a lot of them in your life. So the older you get, you've been through a lot of bad breaks, and sometimes you're just able mentally to be like, put it behind you, decompartmentalize and move on to the next frame, next ball.
Sure.
So Nico's the winner playing against Corey, and then coming out of the bottom there, it's myself and Mike Brook. I'm hoping to move on past Mike and be able to play, one of my three friends between Sarah, Nico, and Corey, view them all as friends. So excited for the competition. Got to play against Corey at the King earlier, or say late last year. Was able to get the best of him, but he's gotten the best of me plenty of times. So that should be a lot of fun.
How familiar are you?
That bracket there.
How familiar are you with your opponent?
With Mike?
Yeah.
So I know Mike. I know Mike very well. He doesn't play a ton, so it'll be a struggle for him to be able to just jump on the court and play against. Of course, myself. I play a lot. That being said, I don't plan on taking him or anyone else there lightly. And if he can get hot rolling, these are going to bring me out shooting. And if, I struggle shooting from always diving down on the floor and rolling, then having to get up, back up and shoot. I mean, honestly, a King of Lorenzinos, if I'm typically a 75 to 80% shooter, I think everyone typically tells they're a better shooter than what they actually are. So I'm probably 75. I probably shot 60% that tournament. I didn't shoot particularly amazingly well. I made timely hits and I hit Paulino. But it was my rolling that kept me in. So hopefully I could be able to roll as well as I did during the King and put the pressure on everybody else to make the hits against me.
Yeah. You know what? It's too bad Matt couldn't make it today. I'd love to hear his takes on some of these matchups too.
Yeah, we're trying to get Matt maybe for we can do a second episode this week, hopefully later on, or do something while we're live there. Even if it's for the Saturday brackets, because I know we all know Matt has an opinion, so it'd be great to hear what it is.
That's a good thing to mention, too. So the broadcast for this tournament, as we mentioned earlier, we are those guys out there wiring up cameras today and, I don't know, mounting them. I don't know what they're doing. But we're setting up the full BBN setup out there. So we will be broadcasting. I'm going to arrive Friday evening, probably around the start of the Friday bracket. Hopefully we should plan to have everything wired up and installed by then. And I should be able to roll in and just connect everything. I'm going to bring all my stuff so we can just plug in and go. And so we should be able to, if you've seen the broadcast schedule, all we had on there was Sunday, the 2nd, just because that's all that we can be sure that we'll be ready to broadcast for. But we should be able to start Friday night and get a good amount of Saturday. I'll be playing Saturday, but Danny won't. So we should be able to tag team that. So look out for a broadcast Friday night because that's most likely when we'll be starting.
Love it. And, what's important to note is for this one, this is sort of like our beta test. We're going to have the 2 cameras on the middle court to start, but we will eventually have 6 cameras here. So all 3 courts will be able to be broadcast. So excited to be doing some things here at Lorenzino's. We'll be broadcasting with Michael on BBN and doing some cool stuff, and then being able to take a lot of this footage and be able to do things like you've been able to do with, game of the weeks and stuff like that. So for those here in Youngstown that I know have appreciate the streaming, should be exciting to have that here. And then, for Taylor and myself to be able to broadcast some games, and we'll be looking for other guest broadcasters. Of course, the legends out there like Levi and Lee and others, during the course of this next year, as we start doing more and more tournaments out at Lorenzino's, we're going to be leaning on you for support. And Michael, can't thank you enough for helping us get this all set up here.
Oh, absolutely. It's been, you can imagine since I started the BBN, of course, I've always wanted to get Ohio involved and get some coverage of more Ohio tournaments. Along with that, too, I think, I won't go into it very much at all, but there will be more really cool opportunities along the lines of other things that we're working on in other parts of the country. With Lorenzino's getting involved in this aspect of the broadcasting, that'll lead to a lot more opportunities for some Lorenzino's players, or Youngstown, Lorenzino's particularly, players and club stuff. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up this year, Danny.
Yeah, it's just between Empire Cup Tournament Champions, which we've gone on before about, but just like what's starting to go on. We got new clubs in Chicago opening up. We got things going on in California. What Dean's doing in other parts of California. Just, it's really exciting for those that have been around the game of bocce. I know for years and decades, it's impressive for me to hear those stories about how they've continued the tradition along. And then for those of us that are relatively newer to the game, being able to use technology to be able to help grow it in social media to help sort of make the country smaller. We're really at that precipice of trying to take our niche sport more mainstream. And it's just a very exciting time to be involved in around the sport.
Yeah, well, we will be taking a huge leap forward in 2025. Like I said, I can't go into, I think we've discussed it a little bit. I'm not sure, but if not, then I'll fill you in. But yeah, we will announce that publicly probably in the coming weeks. Yeah, some really
love it,
really cool stuff that's actually happening, not just being talked about.
So just finishing up Friday's bracket before we get into Saturdays, Pat Durkin versus Stewie. Really excited for that game. Typically, Pat and Stewie are, at the end of the night, are the ones that are the loudest. They could, be using a couple, supplements. Pat and Stewie's are a little bit different. But they use a couple supplements to be the end of the day to be the loudest.
What's
Stewie's
Pat's
drinking the White
supplement?
Claws. What's that?
What's Pat's supplement? I know what Stewie's is.
Well, weed is legal in Ohio. Let's just say that.
Hey, it's
Yep.
legal in New York too.
So PJD and Stewie, they just get louder as the tournament goes along. Their game, they're in the first round of games. Bring the energy, Stewie. I don't want to hear any excuses. PJD, same thing. The crowd wants that matchup. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Winner of your prize after you have to take down a tough opponent is waiting there is Bubba Infante, of course, second place last year. And then down on the bottom, this pot is just brutal.
Yeah, wow.
James Salvaggio coming down from Cleveland, and Levi Policaro, the new dad, Levi, congratulations. Levi, great player. I mean, all 5 of those players can do both. All 5 can do both.
Yeah.
I'm just it's the fact that there's going to be, 4 of those people coming out with at least one loss. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm glad a lot of these guys get to beat up on each other before potentially.
I feel the same way. And down on the bottom, we got Pat Pezzin versus Rocco. That should be a lot of fun. Rocco coming down from Cleveland, of course, phenomenal hitter. Also belongs to the club here, great roller. Pat's, travels everywhere. Love him when he comes to Lorenzino's. I find Pat to be an even better singles player because of the way that he could be able to call the game. He's like former life was professional gambler, but just really understands statistics, really understands the game of bocce. And it's always intriguing for me to watch him sort of try to diagnose his opponent and be able to take them down. He made the Sunday at the King of Lorenzino's as well. Again, winner of that, against 2 tough players, is waiting is Cody Aleko. Cody, Sunday best of the best last year, King of Lorenzino's. He was second place, so he knows the courts very well. Cody, phenomenal hitter, but great roller here on these courts, waiting for them. And then 2 people down the bottom that I just don't know. Very few people I don't know that play bocce, but Greg Thompson and Michael Lucente. If anyone knows about them and their games, please mention in the comments. We did get an update. Thank you, Rocco, in the comments that Nico did not play last year, so this is his first best of the best.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Expect. He's got to beat a bunch of good players there. So good luck to him. Always rooting for all my fellow New Yorkers.
So I would say the best players on paper, we got Joe Zazar, Stewie, Baba, and Cody. Probably best on paper, and you
Pat,
throw
Pat Pezzin, don't.
Pat, you can throw Pat in the mix too, but
you can throw Pat in the mix, the 12-time Canadian champion.
I said you can throw. I
don't think you got to throw him in there. I think he's the one doing the mixing.
We'll see. He has to take down Rocco first before he goes on to Cody.
That's true. I think it's going to be real hard to put up big frames against Pat, though. I think you're going to have to win a bunch of frames to beat him.
I agree.
But Rocco's a great player, too.
Yep. All right, moving on to Saturday. Let's go to Saturday AM. All right, first pod, we got Carmen Marinucci. Carmen, one of the Bocce Bros. Does not play that often anymore. Rarely see him. Plays a little bit of league at MBR. No, Carmen just newly married. Congratulations, last year. And travels a lot for his job, so unable to put it as much time into bocce as he probably would like to and love to. But Carmen's playing against Joey Rogan. Joey's coming down from Erie, Pennsylvania. Joe made a great run at Mulsanne 4-person and he didn't do as well as I typically see him play. I believe at King of Lorenzino's. Joe, of course, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But Joe's a great player. That should be a great matchup between Joey and Carmen. And winner's playing against Jimmy Ferrito, coming down from Cleveland. And waiting down the bottom is Michael Furbatov, which is from ABV, of course. Great player, two-way player, typically a roller, but can hit the heck of the ball too. And he's playing against Francesco
Ricciardi. He's Toronto. Young man from Toronto.
Bringing those Canadians, my friend. Bring them all down here. Waiting down the bottom, we got Croach versus Mikey P. We know Mikey P will be making sure he's sampling those calzones. Mikey's my taste tester, right? So if Mike likes the food, I'm in. And I do the same. That's what Mikey P and I text each other. We are very mostly concerned about how the food is in the place. Fellow foodie. Playing against Croach. Croach, of course, won the doubles here with Dennis Grenade. Great singles player. Typically a shooter, but of course can roll the heck out of the ball. And the winner has to play against Mario Abatista. And don't sleep on Mario. Mario is a great player here. Plays league, plays pickups, and he can hit the ball when needed. Great roller here. And waiting down the bottom is Carl Greenaway and Steve Sersnick. Steve plays a ton here as well. And Carl, great player, has done very well at the best of the best, has done well in singles play, and has won a major last year out there at Molsani. So got a nice little bottom of the bracket to finish out the pod.
We might have to get a Mike Paolillo food review for the broadcast.
Yes. Mikey P, text me back, food reviews. That's what we're doing.
Kitchen Nightmares and Mike Paolillo.
Love it. Moving down on the bottom, we got Ezio coming in from New York, from the Rochester area. Ezio's a great singles player. I'm excited to come watch him play. He's playing against Angelo Marzilli, and the winner plays against Matt Lipa. And down on the bottom, we got John Mancini playing against Patrick Donor.
I don't know why I didn't think of zooming in like this earlier. I was trying to figure out how to zoom in. I realized I can just do it on my broadcasting software here. Yeah, Matt Lipa, Canadian precision shooting qualifier, went to Turkey for that. And I'm trying to remember how he did in the singles. I believe he did well in the singles and possibly also in the Canadian Paulino d'Oro.
Yep.
But very strong singles player, synthetic player. Like you said, the speed's going to be an adjustment for him coming from the super fast Chicharo courts, but I would be I would be surprised to see Matt not make Sunday. I'll say
Matt, I think if you're going to see the second most stuck balls, it'll be from Matt. That dude just sticks them here. Just all the time. It's just like, it's such an advantage when you roll like this 6-inch point that's right next to the Paulino, and then Matt's sticking it on you, and that's where his ball lays. It's like an unreal ball, that he's just like put back there and moved yours to the back.
He's got very vertical north-south spin on his ball when he shoots Sotomano, and he doesn't shoot real hard. So yeah, they stick around a lot.
No, I mean, if I could pick a hero of the shooting style of what I would love to be at, it's Matt's. Very nice and easy, gets out to the ball. And, going back to what you're saying about, typically shooters are making the largest runs in these singles tournaments. It's also these shooters that have nice, easy throwing styles that aren't really using a ton of their body, just like nice and easy out to the ball. Then it becomes like a robot form for them to keep on doing the same thing over and over again. I think those are the ones that also achieve a lot of the success and allow you to be able to play through so many shots. So every game is like four games if you were playing 4-person walk. So if you have to play 7, 8, 9 games, it's like you're playing 28, 32, 36 games. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Ezio too, though, another great shooter there. And an accomplished player in his own right. Cleveland Challenge Cup winner.
And I don't know if there's a better character on the court. That's again, so if I had my hero of the personality to be like, it's Ezio, because that dude's always putting on a show. I love to put on a show. Ezio's always like made for TV. He just like emotional roller. He walks it all the way down to when it finishes. When he shoots the ball, he screams out in the air. Just a really fun player to watch. And of course, a great one is dad, Ugo. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Ugo. A legend out there in Rochester. Excited for him to come down here, come down to Lorenzino's and share a couple of drinks and stories with him as well.
Yeah, when I was a kid playing against, that was the scariest matchup you could get in doubles when I was a kid, was Ugo and Ezio.
I love it. I love hearing it. Down at the bottom there, we got Billy Barnett. He's playing against Fu. His nickname, Nick Jennings. Nick, who we've decided is Chris's twin, just from maybe from another mother. It's like the two Billies, like the comedian and Billy Corgan. Finding each other later. They literally have the same build, same hair, same. It's just the same person. I'm just pretty sure, Nick Jennings and Chris. But he's played against Billy Barnett. Nick's a great roller. He's going to try to bring out Billy hitting. And if Billy hits like a semblance of what he did for the last best of the best, I expect Billy to be back, because that dude was this hit. I saw pink balls just hitting and sticking and pinking and pinking and pinking all throughout that tournament. It was like I didn't really know Billy as well as I do today. That was really kind of like my introduction to Bill. And man, was it fun to watch Billy play in that best of the best last year.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see the pink balls. I think he's rolling with the Epcos these days, the red and blue Epcos.
Red and blue Epcos?
Yeah, and since that, last year's best of the best, Billy won the ABC Open. I'm trying to think of what else Billy won this year or last year.
Yeah, that was a big one there. Guy can do it all. He rolled really well. And I think, one of the hidden characteristics, this is something that we were talking about last night as I was enjoying a cigar with Dante Chiovitti, was talking about the temperament that's needed during singles, being able to move on from that last ball, move on to that, and the next shot. You have to be a cerebral player, but you can't be in your own head. Because the moment that you start thinking something's wrong with your shot or something wrong with your roll, or, what the heck, the court took it, or there was a pebble or whatever, it's the moment that you're going to find a way to the loser's bracket or to be out. And Billy just has a great temperament. He plays the same way, in a strange way. It reminds me of Jimmy Paisano, where they play the same way, whether they're up 11-0 or down 11-0. If it's like they're going to be sent home, or if they're playing to go, to win the championship. And that type of temperament really helps you in a singles matchup, because you don't have teammates to be able to lean on to be able to help you through, sort of your rough time in the game.
Yeah, a lot of decades of experience there too.
Definitely. Winner of that gets to play against Chooch Gutierrez. Chooch, great local player here. So that's not an easy matchup, if Bill's able to take down Nick. And then John on the bottom, Joe Rotaco. Listen, Joe, upset of the king of Lorenzino's tournament, took down Carl Greenaway. And I played against Joe, and he's a roller, great roller, good roller from PA, from the Pittsburgh area. And the dude would just like have this like out of nowhere, amazing underhand hit on Paulino and make 3 or 4. He did it to me. He did it to Carl. It just like came out. I'm like, well, who the heck is this person? Like out of his body. I couldn't believe it. And just like make this unbelievable hit. Drew, great person. Can't wait to hang out with him. And he's playing against Natalie Scala. And again, we talked about it. We touched upon it earlier. He's the one that had Jose last year. Had the big lead on him. Mario, his brother, he put the Maluch on him. He was talking about how Natalie hasn't beat him yet. And Jose takes off the jacket, puts on the suit and tie, and gets the dub, man. That was such a great game last year.
Yeah, Natale's had a lot of success over the years. Not his. I think he'd say it himself too. Not his best year last year.
Yeah, there wasn't like I wasn't seeing him like in the winner's circle, right? Like it's definitely at the frequency, or even like making Sundays at the frequency that you typically see Natale. This though being singles, now it's not like right team, right draw, right place, right court. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like all on him, and this is like the great time to kind of reset what's going on in your own personal bocce world, because again, you get to make the calls. And the one big advantage that Natale has is that he's won these. He knows he can get to the end. He knows he can grind his way through points. He knows he can grind his way through frames, and he could change the frame with his hitting and sticking and moving Paulino, and he will take the shots. And having those world experiences, having those singles experiences, I think just really it's an advantage. It's an advantage that he has in the tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice so either Natale or Billy's going to have a loss. They're going to have to grind from the bottom.
Yeah, that's an interesting potential matchup there, Natale and Billy.
Oh, that'd be fun. One more bracket, and we'll let you guys all get back to your days. Thanks to everyone for hanging on. Really cool to see upwards of like 60, 70 viewers. Still have 35 now. We appreciate all your love for bocce and everything that you've given to us. So happy to be talking through it for you. And for those that patiently waited for us to talk about your bracket, let's bring up Saturday PM. All right. So top of this bracket, we got Maurizio versus Frankinelli. That's going to be a good rolling matchup, man. Frank and Maurizio.
Yeah, a couple of guys who are probably usually going to be rollers on a doubles team or a four-person team. But definitely capable shooters, of course. Frank is going to shoot more sottomano than Maurizio is. It'd be interesting to see if that plays a factor in the strategy. If he's going for...
When you say sottomano, do you mean what you call backhand?
Yeah, backhand stick shots. Maurizio is a great shooter. Probably leans more towards playing PRV. So he although I mean he plays a ton of open just because, well, and not just because, but that there's just way more open to play. But he's a Highwood player. One of the few people in this country who has access to a facility like that. And I don't know if you've ever seen his, well, I'm sure you have, Danny, but for the audience, I don't know if they've ever seen Maurizio's videos that he posts where he'll like line up a bunch of balls and, vola one in the middle or roll a ball into a perfect
It's like watching like the coolest professional pool player, or like the bowlers that can do the trick ones. I mean, it's just insane. He's picking balls. I don't see enough room for him to be able to roll in or to be able to hit it or whatever. And the dude can do it with such ease. Here's where Maurizio, where I think he has an advantage in singles play, is he's a killer. He wants to beat you. He's going to have the attitude of, I'm trying to do everything I can to take you down. He's a cerebral player. He watches a lot. So he's watching to see what everybody has, what advantages they have throughout the game. And he has underhanded on balls to bring him down in the back. So he will take shots on Paulino and go after the big frames when necessary. He's not afraid to hit that last ball.
And playing against Frankinelli, though, Frank's coming off back-to-back wins at Waterside and the Empire Cup Finals. And actually, in both those wins, he won with the next guy up on the bracket there, my father Lou. So potential teammate matchup, or Chicago versus New York there.
So when you played the Troy, did your father play any of the singles side?
I think, let's see, we played probably maybe 9 or 10 games, and I think I played singles three times, maybe 4 times, and he played the rest of them.
Love it. Yeah, Lou, for those that don't know your father, great singles player, has both in his bag, can be able to shoot and roll, great temperament. I'm excited to watch that. And Vinny Vitale and Nick Emo rounding out that sort of top bracket. I mean, Nick's a phenomenal player, as we know, one of probably the best shooters here. Again, another sticky butter person. And don't sleep on Vinny Vitale. He's a tournament regular. He's a grinder from around here, from Pennsylvania. It's going to be a great little top bracket there.
Nick doesn't stick. Nick shoots our only St. Louis player, right?
Yeah.
Gotta be. Nick shoots Sopermano.
Shoots underhand. I'm sorry. Yep.
Great PRV player, national champion. I think several times over in doubles, and ABC Open champion last year along with Bill Barnett. And Brian Polance was also on that team, actually. And Vince, but Vince isn't.
To your point, if Maurizio's able to get all the way through, both Frank and your dad, and he ends up having to play Nick, I don't think that we'll see another matchup where there'll be 2 underhand shooters.
Interesting.
In that part of the bracket, there won't be another winners that's like that. So two of the better ones to be able to do it underhanded. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, and coming on to these what will be short courts for them. They're used to playing on the the full-size international courts in St. Louis and Chicago. So I wonder if they feel like that's an advantage for them too.
We have a rule around here. If you don't like where the Paulino went after you hit it at Lorenzino's, don't worry. Hit it the same way the next time and it'll go somewhere different.
Good to know.
You can't. There's no expect. It plays off the wall differently, plays off the back wall differently. It's like just 1 mile per hour, and this thing wants to shoot back off. And, next time it just hits off a little something, whatever, and it doesn't go. And when you have shorter courts like this, there is a little bit more unexpected that happens on the back wall. And when you shoot the ball, Paulino, or balls back underhanded, things could happen differently.
Good point. Yeah, maybe something strategically to consider playing against these long court players. Maybe there's an advantage to be found in there for those of us who are used to playing short courts. I mean, the obvious one is the Sotomano versus Sopermano advantage, especially in open. A lot of people would say that you play if you can stick and the other guy can't, maybe you play him short and try and stick a couple balls. But against shooters of this caliber, those are guys that can hit Paulino pretty regularly. So that strategy can nip you.
Could backfire if you can't roll on the back wall. So, again, like these local players, someone like myself that plays here, twice a week, I feel as comfortable going short on you because I could stick. And then if I got to roll a big ball down at the bottom of the hill, unlike when we didn't have Lorenzino's, I know for a lot of those Youngstown players and Western PA players, we didn't have a synthetic club to roll back wall dead and feel as comfortable doing it. There's something mentally that you have to get through when every one of your backboards are live. So now I feel a lot more comfortable trying to make it. But going on to the bottom part, and this is where you're at, you play Bobby Ferraro. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, great shooter from Youngstown, plays a lot at MBR, and just an overall great person. He's actually one of the sponsors to help us get the cameras and the equipment here. So shout out to Bobby Ferraro. Shout out to Joe Palumbo from Watertight. We really appreciate your support and what you've been able to do for the club. We're lucky to have you in our community. I know that, and in the bocce community especially as well.
Absolutely.
Winner of your game gets to play against Scotty Altpeter. Scott plays here, practices here, dangerous shooter. Everybody has their one. So everybody has one person that it's really difficult for them to beat, and Scott is mine. Whenever I'm in a 4-person and Scott's on the other side, I'm like, God damn it, I know this dude. I don't know if he when he plays against me, he wants to be Superman, but that's what he is against me. He just hits and sticks and does everything he needs to do. And great person, Scott. And he's waiting for you and Bobby. And I can't wait to see who Scott and plays against. I don't know if I want to watch or not, because if I watch, I'll get mad, because when he plays against me, he will play 100% better, because I bring out the best of him. He is Scotty alt Botto when he plays against me.
Yeah, well, if I play him, how do I avoid bringing out the best in him? What are you doing wrong?
Maybe I'm too loud. So maybe he enjoys my screaming and my gyrations, so you just don't be me.
Yeah, I'm pretty, I don't know if I'd call myself level-headed, because I definitely get upset sometimes, but I think I keep it to myself for the most part.
Quieter.
Quieter than you, for sure.
I don't like to exude a lot of energy screaming in these singles, though. I don't. Yeah. I'm not the same person. That when I play singles, even doubles, not as much. And 4-person walk, though, I could hit a ball, I could scream, I could look back in the camera and ask for, who's cheering now, and then I get to walk over to the other side of the court, take a deep breath for like 6-7 rolls, and then I get to go again. In these ones, it's like you shoot a ball, you stick it, you start screaming, and guess what you have to do? Go do it again.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, too much energy there. Also in your little pod, you got Mario Scala, of course Natalie's brother, from up near the Rochester area. And Danny is a great player from Aliquippa. So not too far from here, about 45 minutes, 45 minutes away from here. Danny's a great player too.
Yeah, Mario, only player that I'm familiar with in my pod there.
Yeah.
Played against him a handful of times.
Nice. Well, possible for a rematch if you're able to get through those two, and he's able to get through Danny. Moving on towards the next part, we got Timmy Wilson versus Danny's buddy. Danny, we just mentioned from Aliquippa. Eli's his buddy from Aliquippa. They're the only two players I know from Aliquippa. They always play doubles together, and they also come out to singles, always testing themselves. Eli's playing against Timmy Wilson, and Timmy is in fuego zone, in rolling again. So Timmy, great player from around here. Actually went to high school with Timmy, one of my good friends, one of my best friends, and a great roller. Had a little bit of a lump. He would say the same thing. Whatever it was, it's not there anymore. This dude is just rolling great roll after great roll, wherever he's at, and he's just such a killer here. And so Timmy is typically an underhand shooter, and we play a lot, of course, cash games and practice here. Timmy's been moving the hand over and unafraid now to shoot the other way. He has both shots equally in his bag. Really excited to see him. He's turning into a lot of like a Dante level-esque player that can be able to shoot under and overhanded. And Timmy's going to be a beast, and he's going to be a tough out for anyone. And so if he can get through Eli, if he's going to play against William Hennessy, who also did really well at the King tournament, but if he can get through him, waiting on the next one, albeit maybe a large upset for my boy Pooch from Greg Puccio against Jose, could be Timmy Wilson versus Jose. I'll be really excited to see that. Timmy, probably one of, if not the best roller here at Lorenzino's. I know Ben and Matt and Sean and a couple other people are going to have something to say about that, but Timmy versus Jose would be a fun matchup if he can get through those two.
See a lot of shooting from Jose there, huh? With Timmy.
Oh yeah.
Greg Puccio, Rome player, Rome, New York, great shooter, known as one of the best shooters in Rome.
Yes.
If he can put a good game together, he could definitely, cause some problems for Jose. I think the challenge for him is going to be rolling. But again, a lot of these guys, whenever I've seen Greg play or played against them, he's always been the hitter. So I really don't know how consistently he's able to roll. But a guy who's been playing for a long time.
Yeah, it's not just going to be like rolling like one or two balls. And so, of course, he can roll, right? You don't get to the point of winning the way that Greg does without being a good roller. But can he roll great? Because he's going to have to against Jose, right? and he's going to have to be able to roll back wall dead, deep walls, back walls, because Jose could just change the frame.
Yeah, well, but Greg can't too. That's going to be a weapon that he's going to be able to use if Jose, sticks his first 3 balls. Greg's one of those guys that's going to be able to hit Paulino probably, at least 50%, I would say. So he's got a shot. He's been in those big games too.
We've
end of the
been,
world. What's that?
The common theme around here, just like in the club, what have people been talking about is like this could be the year that Jose gets down, that someone could take him down in singles. Everyone's playing a lot more bocce. It's going to be a lot tougher road. Ain't as many cupcake, matches as before, and people are watching on TV what to do. They're seeing their own mistakes. They're seeing other players have success in what they're doing. It's a lot easier to kind of like bridge the gap.
Yeah. You know what I'm looking at as a potential very interesting matchup here is Valentina Pelota versus Jose. A lot of things would have to happen for us to get to that point, but Canadian women's singles champion, great shooter, great pointer, and inexperienced singles player.
And so her first matchup is against Moose, and Nikki here. We call him Moose. He has the big afro. He flops the ball. I can't even believe how he rolls the ball. He flops it in the air and dot and rolls. And he's a phenomenal roller. Made Sunday at King of Lorenzino's. Can make the timely hits. Plays here. Knows the courts here. Val, of course, is the queen of Lorenzino. She came down from Canada and won that. That's going to be a really fun matchup. And great, Val, you're able to take down Moose. You're waiting for Ron Dog, one of the better just players overall in the state of Pennsylvania, let alone at Lorenzino's. Ron, a great singles player, made Sunday at the King, waiting for the winner of Moose versus Val. Down the bottom, we got Jackson Wicker. Jackson, a great young player, also played at that PRV tournament, singles tournament you talked about in Toronto. Great hitter, understands the courts, rolls well here, and he's playing against Marcus, one of the members here, Di Camillo, to round out the bottom of this.
Yeah, well, hard to imagine Jose not coming out of there. But what's do you remember for this bracket? What do we get? 2?
So this one, I believe, is 2 and 4.
2 winners, 4 losers.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Jose's going to have to make the run.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's going to be the name of the game for the entire tournament. Somebody's going to have to beat Jose, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be, it's going to be really hard to win it coming from the losers bracket. It won't be impossible, but just the energy that you're going to need in a singles matchup to come from the losers, it's just you just really, really want to get that bye, right? So to have to make it through there, anyone that drew in that bottom of that bracket there is going to have to play through Jose. But if someone can get it, right? If it's Val, if it's Ron Dog, if it's Timmy Wilson, whoever ends up can be able to take down, if it's Pooch, if someone take down Jose and give him a loss, man, he's going to have a long hill to climb. Anyone would on Sunday. So it'd be very exciting.
Yeah. I think, of course, looking at my half of the bracket too, I see a few players there I think could come out of that top half of the bracket.
Just good players everywhere. We're rounding out on 2 hours. I actually have to get ready for league here, but just like my final shout out, I know there's also a tournament going on this weekend in Cape Coral. So my buddy Big E is going to be there. He's making the tournament debut of social media superstar Kenny Logsdon is going to be playing there. So Kenny and Big E on a side. I'm excited. Let's just say that I'm excited. We're all excited to see how does Kenny perform with actual players on the bocce court other than himself.
We'll see how many takes those shots really take them.
We'll know for sure.
Yeah, we got to have some live streaming from there, I imagine. I'm hoping.
I hope so too. I believe the Bocce Bros are going to be down there. They did a lot of
are they?
live streaming last year, especially their games. So hopefully we can get that too. And I know it was a really long episode. So thanks to everyone that stayed with us for Best of the Best. Michael, I still want to on our next broadcast. I want to talk about that 1 and 3 or 1 in the doubles. So the 3-man no walk, 3-person no walk to understand that. We'll get into a little bit more of those tournaments that we weren't able to today, but with this Best of the Best, again, the largest singles tournament in the country, should be like open rules. Going to be just very exciting here at Lorenzino's. Excited to have you all down here. Excited to have you for your first time coming to Youngstown, and thanks to everybody for joining. We appreciate it. Shout out Matt Taylor. Love you, buddy. Hope to have you here next week on the show too. And thanks again to Dante and Rocky out here at Lorenzino's for hosting us. Michael, biggest one. I love it.
Yeah, really looking forward to this weekend. Keep your eye out, like we mentioned earlier, for the broadcast. If everything goes smoothly and according to plan, we should be able to go live Friday night. At the very least, we should have things figured out by Saturday, but I think I'm optimistic that we'll be able to go live Friday night for a good portion of that Friday night bracket, which who knows could go until 2-3 a.m.
Listen, I promise if the cameras are rolling, I won't be quiet.
Can't wait.
All right, thanks everybody for joining. This is Respect the Line. I'm Danny Catullo, Michael Sheldon, and we're out.